Tonight, the Briceño administration's political fortunes are at their lowest ebb. That's after the enforced resignation of a senior cabinet member and close prime ministerial ally, Jose Mai. Mai tendered his resignation from cabinet today after he was pressured to do so by the prime minister. And that's after the prime minister himself came under pressure, reportedly from the U.S. Embassy in Belize, which had concerns about Mai's activities. Jules, we are joined on set tonight by our news director, Jules Vasquez. And Jules, it's a huge development tonight in Belmopan. Tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Yes, it is a huge development. We refer to activities and what kind of activities. Let us start at the beginning. On Friday morning, after an event here in the city, the Prime Minister raced to Belmopan where he had a debriefing with the U.S. Embassy. I believe it's a charge d'affaires. The contents of these meetings are never publicized, but the Prime Minister emerged from that meeting. I am told he emerged quite infuriated, quite, not with the Americans, with what had been revealed to him by persons close to him, about the activities of persons close to him, including Jose Mai. So, I do not know what is the extent of those activities. Every dog on the street knows what has been rumored about Mr. Mai. For legal reasons, until I have proof in my hand, we can't go into that. But there are alleged to be activities of a serious and nefarious nature, alleged to be. So serious that the Prime Minister quickly convened a meeting of his closest advisors, and at that meeting he had to decide a way forward, and the way forward would have to be to eliminate Jose Mai from his cabinet. Now, I just want to insert here that these meetings, as I understand it, are held as a courtesy.
Okay.
We know XY. You need to do ABC in order to avoid total embarrassment. The Prime Minister has had these meetings before, not at this seriousness. So, instead of stripping Jose Mai and publicly embarrassing him, he gave him the opportunity to resign. And he has tendered his resignation from the cabinet as of this afternoon. One wants to ask, what happens next?
Yes, of course. And what is Mai's political future looking like?
Well, Mai is the representative for Orange Walk South. I don't think his prospects, he will lose when you don't have a ministry and all of that weight to throw around. You lose a lot of your clout, your political clout. But I think the more immediate question is, what will the Americans do? What is the gravity, extent, and seriousness of this? Let me put it like this. In the past, we have seen the U.S. strip ministers of their visas. In the past, we have seen the U.S. Embassy or the U.S. State Department designate ministers or politicians. In the faraway past, we have seen them indict and arrest. Are any of those, and we have also seen them do nothing other than issue the government a caution saying, too hot, cool it down, stay away, it's going to blow up. I don't know what they plan to do. I don't have that information. I think only the Prime Minister does. And I don't expect that he will be truthful about it. So now, but it was serious enough for the Prime Minister. Action had to be taken today. So what happens next? We'll have to wait and see what happens with Jose Mai. But certainly the Ministry of Agriculture, which is a big ministry, and supplies control, because he fought last week after they took away enterprise. He fought to get back supplies control. Supplies control let us be kind and say that it has lucrative opportunities when one is issuing permits. So, now that those are in play, which minister will get those? He cannot give himself or Francis Fonseca. They're already overloaded.
Right.
He doesn't have many good choices. So we'll see where the Prime Minister goes with that up to news time. No announcement of the cabinet realignment had been made. We know that this entire thing evolved with Hosemai after the attempted hit on Nitin Bukshani. We cannot escape that. Nitin Bukshani was a key figure, is perhaps a key figure in the Corozal Free Zone. Hosemai was the minister with responsibility for the zone. When this hit was taken out on Nitin Bukshani, which was unsuccessful, it was the second attempted hit on a key free zone figure.
Right.
I think that really is what is driving this action by the U.S. Embassy, because the free zone is too hot to handle. And there's a lot of illegal cartel-related activity there, and there are a lot of rivalries being driven to gain cartel control of certain movements of containers, of cigarettes, etc.
Jules, what does this message really send, though, to all the other members of cabinet at this point?
It's hard to say. Obviously, they're taking a political beating. Obviously, their party can no longer lay claim to being free of corruption, or working assiduously towards transparency and being corruption-free. That's out the door. That's dead in the water. But there's concern because there's a heightened state of security.
Right.
Today I saw the Prime Minister's, I don't know if it's because the Duchess of Scotland was here, but today I saw the Prime Minister with 2 escort vehicles.
Very possible, though.
It could be that
Right.
because we have an official visiting, but I did see the Prime Minister with 2. There is political proximity. Nitin Bukshani is the common law of Renan Briceño's daughter. That's the Prime Minister's second cousin.
Right.
There is proximity. So, and there is an entire air of danger surrounding this entire free zone things because of the number of attempts on lives.
The responsiveness of the Prime Minister has been very swift, however. Is this cleanup, or do you feel it's beyond the cleanup at this point? It's an indication that there is actually something that is far deeper, and it's now put on the table.
It's not clean up. It's clean up as much as they did a
Right.
cleanup at Chernobyl, in terms of it's totally radioactive.
Okay.
Right? When a senior minister in your government is flagged by the Americans for whatever they flagged him for, but they didn't flag him for going to church on Sunday. The Americans, I want to be clear, have been tracking this kind of activity for years. There have been reports of less than optimal activity
right.
for many years, and they
Across the
have
border as well.
multiple levels of proof. When they speak, it's because the engagement is going to change. We're tired of observing, or we've observed enough, and something else is going to happen. And we are giving you, the Prime Minister, the luxury to act now, or other actions are going to happen. So that's the state with that. We need to look at the other players in the cabinet. Henry Charles Usher.
Who's going to be taking up that post?
Well, he certainly won't be taking up agriculture. There are rumors that Ramirez will. I don't believe it. I don't know who will take it up, but Henry Charles Usher will not take up the Ministry of Home Affairs and Enterprise, because that potato is too hot. He is good with his public service, and he's going to continue there. So that puts into play, when we've seen, and we'll see the statement from him shortly, Oscar Mira stepped up to take over the Ministry of Home Affairs and Enterprise.
Right.
He now leaves behind the fence. So we have to see what will happen with defense. But let me put a point that Mira will not work. There are reports with Sharul Kar Saldivar. So who will be his CEO? There are reports he might bring over the CEO from defense, Mr. Francis Usher, or it's not too far-fetched to think that Chester Williams could still be in play. He was the natural choice for Home Affairs CEO in March when they removed him, when they told him we'd be removing you as compelled. March or weeks after.
Are you guessing at this one, or you have intel to suggest otherwise, Jules?
I not talk fool. I'm just saying that is a possibility. It's a natural fit. It's a natural fit. I believe that the Minister of Home Affairs, Karim Musa, was urged in March or April to take on Chester Williams. It's a natural progression. What then happens to Mr. Rosado, the compel? I would say the compel's position right now is not optimal, you know, because the DPP is seized of this less than nothing file, and she's going to make it more than something, I believe. And there is information coming to me, I can say this tonight. There is corruption in the investigation that led to less than nothing. Police officers were given statements to sign. They went to an officer's house. They didn't do it at the station. They went to an officer's house to sign those statements that were given to them. These are secondary statements. This is after they gave their first true statement. They were then directed to come up with a better statement. They were given a bogus know-nothing statement. And they signed those statements with less than true signatures. This happened in multiple cases. Police were induced or urged to pervert the course of justice, and these directives had to come from above. This is a very poor reflection on the command. I have received information today that the incident was recorded in the diary at the police station, the abduction of Joseph Budna. That diary has disappeared. That diary was removed before it was finished. That diary is a critical piece of evidence. I want you to find it. They have disappeared the diary. The entry was made. I am just saying that in my mind, perhaps my perspective is a little bit skewed.
We've digressed a bit.
Yes, but I'm just saying that there are other fires burning. And don't ever forget, I'll say this very carefully, but who gave the order for Budna? Who thieved Budna? It's not a digression because it relates immediately to northern politicians. I am going to say it. A northern politician gave the order. And I do not think it is the Prime Minister. And I know we have questioned Hossein about it. He has denied giving the order. But a northern politician gave that order. I have good reason to believe. So I'm just saying politics and Budna are meeting in the middle. But moving on.
Zoom out. How does this fare for us in the international space?
Well, it's another black eye for Belize. We've had many over the years. You know, we've had many politicians dabbling in internationally observed criminal behavior. One has to mention Don Eligio Briceño, Don Joe, who was charged in the US. One has to mention Maxwell Samuels. One has to mention Elvin Penner of the UDP. These are all people who came under high level of international scrutiny. As I said, I do not know where Hossein will land with this, but I know that the Americans had a bunch of information and not just love letters. They have video evidence.
Are we suspecting any pushback from Mai?
I don't know. It's going to be hard to tell. He's an unpredictable person. And from what I am told, he doesn't think like regular people. in terms of, he might have a more direct way of doing things. So I am hoping that he speaks up and defends himself. This whole the thing with the bulletproof vests
Right.
that we had on the news on
Yes,
Friday,
yes.
that's a part of the mix as well, right? It's just, he has a lot to answer for right now, and I wish that he would, but I don't think he will.
Okay.
I don't think he will. But I want to stress here, though, the Ministry of Defense is now in play, and there are reports that Florencio Marin Jr. may go back to that ministry, which he held for 5 years. I am sounding a warning. If he goes back, there are difficult questions to answer. I am in possession of payments made by the Ministry of Defense when Florencio Marin Jr. was minister. I am in possession of the document that shows dozens of payments on the $10,000 made. Those questions need to be answered. There were micro contracts given, awarded to avoid scrutiny. These were micro contracts awarded to avoid scrutiny, all on the $10,000 that add up to many hundreds of thousands, if not a million, which went to a certain gun dealer in Belize City. The Ministry of Defense is still trying to figure out what it got or did not get, what it bought or proposed to buy for those monies. I am saying that happened during his tenure. Not saying, I'm not directly attributing it to him, but I'm sounding a warning. If he goes back to the Ministry of Defense, this is something we're actively investigating.
Right. Okay.
It's something we're actively investigating and something we will put in a FOIA request for. Where did all those contracts go to? So there's a lot in play right now, a lot of suggestions of corrupt activity. And the Prime Minister really has his hands full. There's a House meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he traveled by Friday. But, he has a lot of remixing. He reshuffled the cabinet last week, and he has to remix it this week. That's an embarrassment for a Prime Minister. It looks like you don't know what you're doing, right? It looks like you made a decision, and it was undone. You're the maximum leader. It should not have been undone.
Undercooked.
Right, indeed.
Jules, we're going to be watching the changes as they play out the remainder of this week. Thank you always for being on set, giving us an idea of how to assimilate what's going on.